Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to Science North for what promises to be a meaningful and impactful announcement for our region and our province. We're honored to host today's event and thrilled to have many distinguished guests with us, including the Honourable Vic Fedeli, Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Bill Rosenberg, MPP for Algoma, Manitoulin, Paul Lefebvre, Mayor of Greater Sudbury, and I also see a number of our industry colleagues and friends in the audience today. From wherever you're joining us, welcome. We're so happy you're here. To start this gathering off in the right way, I'd like to acknowledge that Science North and Dynamic Earth are located on the ancestral and traditional lands of the Atecmeksheng and Anishinaabeg and Wanapitei First Nation in Robinson-Huron Treaty Territory. As an organization, Science North is grateful to work with First Nations across Northern Ontario, and we give thanks to the Indigenous peoples who have cared for these lands since time immemorial. While we're welcoming you to Science North today, I also want to recognize our sister attraction, Dynamic Earth. As part of the Science North family, it serves as Ontario's dedicated space for educating and inspiring people about mining and critical minerals. A place where the story of this sector truly comes to life. From its underground science centre to hands-on programs delivered across Northern Ontario, it plays a vital role in building early awareness of this sector's many opportunities. Today's announcement is another clear signal of Ontario's ambition to lead in the critical minerals sector. We often talk about technology, infrastructure, and investment required to seize this generational opportunity. But before any of that, there's something more fundamental that makes progress possible: inspiration. At Science North and Dynamic Earth, we see our role at the very start of the talent pipeline. Each year, we welcome hundreds of thousands of young people who are encountering mining, engineering, and clean tech careers for the first time. Whether they're exploring our underground drift, experimenting in our labs, or connecting with the scientists and engineers that make this all possible, they begin to picture themselves as part of it. Curiosity is the spark that precedes talent, and that spark is what we work to ignite every day. We're proud to help nurture the next generation of innovators and problem solvers who will shape the future of this sector and drive Ontario's leadership forward. It's now my pleasure to introduce someone who's been a tireless advocate for advancing Ontario's position as a global leader, the Honourable Vic Fedeli.
Thank you, Ashley, for that introduction, and good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. It's great to be back in Sudbury with our colleague, MPP Bill Rosenberg. I just can't say that enough. I'm so happy Billy's with us. So MPP Bill Rosenberg from Manitoulin, Algoma, Manitoulin. And our great friend to all of us and one of the hardest working mayors in the North, Mayor Paul Lefebvre of Sudbury. It's great to see you. Ashley, that was a wonderful talk and an introduction to the whole topic today, and really stressing the importance. I want to take a moment to extend our sincere thanks to you and the team here at Science North. We've been here at many podium events with you, and we couldn't be more grateful for the role that you continue to play in inspiring the next generation of STEM leaders all across Northern Ontario. You know, just last week, many of us were together to welcome an $85 million investment by Sandvik, who announced the launch of their new mining equipment maintenance, repair, and overhaul, their MRO facility here in Greater Sudbury. You know, at its core, Sandvik's investment was an investment in Northern Ontario's workers, families, and in the future of a sector that truly anchors the success of Ontario's economy. Today, we are proud to be building on that momentum as we mark another milestone in our government's plan to protect Ontario and strengthen the province's leadership in this critical mineral sector. As global demand for critical minerals rise right across leading industries, our government is meeting the moment by increasing Ontario's domestic processing capacity. First announced as part of the 2025 budget, the Critical Mineral Processing Fund was created to provide strategic financial support to projects that accelerate the province's critical minerals processing capacity and strengthen domestic supply chains. Now, this is all backed by a $500 million investment from our government, and that fund will serve as a complementary initiative supporting our government's ongoing efforts to unlock the economic potential of Ontario's minerals, as an example in the Ring of Fire, but primarily across all of Northern Ontario. By ensuring that the mining and processing of Ontario minerals is done in Ontario by Ontario workers, we're protecting the North, we're protecting the province from external disruptions and shortages. And we're ensuring the stability, the security of not just our critical mineral sector, but of our defense, our aerospace, our automotive, our health sciences, and our advanced technology sectors. I just want to talk for one moment about the situation south of the border. Now, we hear a lot from President Trump. I don't need anything from Canada. We don't want anything from Canada. We don't want your this. We don't want your that. Just think about this for a second. 80% of all the nickel that's used in the United States aerospace sector comes from here. 53% of all the nickel that's needed in the United States' entire defense sector comes right from here, comes out of the ground here. So when you hear that come from the president, just think about the resources that we have here, whether it's the aluminum. 60% of all aluminum used in the United States comes from Canada, mostly from Quebec. Almost 90% or over 90% of all the fertilizer that they use, and you heard the president last week saying, we're going to put a tariff on fertilizer. That comes from Canada, it comes from Saskatchewan. That's potash. They don't have that in the United States. They need it here. Almost all of it comes from here. So, you know, I know our federal government is working hard on the resolution, but just know these facts in the back of your mind, that those are the things that we bring up at every single meeting when we have meetings in the States, that we're fighting for you. Premier Ford is fighting hard for you. He uses those facts. Those are the weapons that we have. You can't argue the facts. So today's podium marks the official launch now of the Critical Mineral Processing Fund, which we're proud to announce will be delivered through our own agency, Invest Ontario, and that's the province's investment attraction agency. Now, since its inception, Invest Ontario has announced over $12 billion in investments by companies, resulting in the creation of more than 11,300 jobs all across the province. So we are here today to encourage any interested business to engage with our Invest Ontario's experts to determine if your project is eligible. For Ontario, the critical minerals advantage is not only a resource advantage, but it is an economic advantage as well. In 2024 alone, as you well know here in Sudbury, Ontario produced over $3.6 billion in critical minerals, and that cements our position as one of North America's largest and most important mineral producers. Ontario is the only jurisdiction in the Western Hemisphere with all the critical minerals required to build a lithium-ion battery. And by uniting Northern Ontario's critical minerals with the manufacturing might in the south, the auto might in the south, we're ensuring Ontario's critical mineral supply chain can truly be an end-to-end operation. because from mine to market, it will all be done right here in Ontario by Ontario workers. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, our government's top priority is to safeguard Ontario workers by building a more competitive, a more resilient, and a more self-reliant economy. So the CMPF is just one of those many targeted supports that we've released over the course of this year, dedicated to ensuring that no matter the actions of our neighbours down south, our province can stand bold in its ambition and commitment to our business and to our workers. And as we look ahead, we'll continue to do everything we can to protect and build on this growth so we can transform Ontario into a global hub of critical mineral development and one of the most competitive places to invest, create jobs, and to do business. So again, to all of you here today, we thank you for joining us to celebrate the launch of this fund and look forward to returning here back to my beloved home in Northern Ontario to celebrate the next stage of its success and the projects we're hopeful that this is going to advance. And now we'll turn it over to MPP Bill Rosenberg. I can't say that enough. I'm so happy you're with us.
Good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to be here today to stand beside Minister Fedeli and the Honourable Mayor Lefebvre. It's as being a rookie, I see the efforts that the minister puts in, traveling all over the world, bringing billions of dollars in investments back, because we know we need a strong economy to keep Ontario moving forward, and so I'm very happy to stand here today for this a great announcement for the Critical Mineral Processing Fund. I want to thank Minister Fedeli for his great efforts as the minister and to work to ensure that Ontario's economy grows and is stable in these uncertain times with tariffs and issues we have faced south of our border. I also want to acknowledge and congratulate our Premier Doug Ford for his great vision and leadership to ensure that Ontario excels in providing opportunities like the Ring of Fire, development, and critical mineral funding announcements. As global demand for critical minerals continues to rise, the Critical Minerals Processing Fund will help Ontario deliver as a trusted supplier. By building our supply chains here at home with Ontario workers, we are creating good jobs, strengthening communities just like right here in Sudbury, and reinforcing our province's reputation as a top destination for investment and growth. Thank you, everyone who attended this announcement today, and we will look forward to the future for critical mineral production. Thank you.
And now it's an opportunity to welcome Mayor to the podium. We can't thank you enough, Paul, for everything you've done.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Super exciting day that the fund is launched. Great news for Northern Ontario. So before I proceed to my remarks, Minister Fedeli was here last Friday. An amazing announcement with Vic. He's here today. Another amazing announcement. I'm free next Friday, Vic. If you want to come back, you're more than welcome to come back. We would love to have you here. And Bill, you're always welcome here all the time. You know that. And Ashley, thank you for hosting us in this beautiful venue. I know that Science North is an amazing facility, amazing organization, amazing people, and one thing I like to say is the largest science centre in Canada. So we are quite proud of that Northern Ontario is certainly batting way above its weight, but it's because of its people and because of investments from the provincial government that we're seeing today, believing in folks from Northern Ontario. So as I said last week, Minister Fedeli joined us as we celebrated one of the largest private investments in our city's history with Sandvik's new state-of-the-art manufacturing facility supported by the province. I said then that it is the leadership, the talent, and the expertise found right here in Greater Sudbury that make investments like that possible. And looking around this room today, that statement has never been more true. Today's launch of the Critical Minerals Processing Fund strengthens that momentum and reinforces what we have long known in this community. Ontario's economic future runs through the north. Most importantly, this fund will help ensure more value-added processing happens right here at home. As we all know, when you come from the north, when you see your raw materials leave and maybe not come back, don't feel too comfortable about that. And we have a government that sees that potential, that believes that we can do it here, we can do it in the north, by people from the north. And so the fact that they're investing in this type of major investment, at the end of the day, we know that these investments are going to happen in Northern Ontario. I often talk to my mayor friends from down south saying, I'm not sure you want a processing facility in your backyard. I'm not sure your neighbors want that either. I don't think you know what you're talking about. So, because, as I say, that's what we do in Northern Ontario, certainly here in Sudbury. The history we have of processing and the future is also in processing as well. So, as we know that minerals being shipped elsewhere, and more of that work will now take place in our own backyard, strengthening our world-class mining ecosystem. It will accelerate innovation, it will grow our local economy, and it will create the high-value careers that support families across our communities. Greater Sudbury is proud to stand at the centre of Ontario's critical minerals strategy. With strong partnerships, including with Indigenous communities, labour, businesses, and all levels of government, we are shaping the future of this industry right here in the north. So it is music to my ears when I hear the Minister Fedeli, the Premier of the province, saying that we want to do an end-to-end supply chain for BEV here in Ontario. This is critical. It's been mentioned before, and I know now that they're putting the investments where it needs to happen. And so this is a great day for Northern Ontario, great day for Ontario, and the fact that, you know, the mantra of our government, of our province right now, is protecting Ontarians. And this is an investment exactly doing that, protecting the jobs, investing in our future. So I'm just thrilled to be able to participate, to lend my voice to supporting certainly this investment as we continue to grow Northern Ontario and our province. The future is bright, and thank you to Vic and to Bill for being here and making this announcement in Greater Sudbury. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Miigwech.
So I just want to talk a little bit about, pick up on my conversation about what's happening down south. You know, my ministry has been to, well, next week will be 20 countries this year. And what we're hearing around the world is fascinating. It's the world. Here's the United States, here's China, here's Russia. The world is coming together sans US, sans China, and sans Russia. It's fascinating how we want to do business with each other and the changes that we're seeing. It's actually quite amazing. No matter what country we go to, no matter what company we visit, they all say roughly the same thing. And they say it to us independently. It's unprompted. They say that it's in this very, very tumultuous world that we're living in, with Russia's illegal war in Ukraine, with the turmoil, the war that was, and the turmoil in Israel, and China's big mitt over our supply chains and the harm that that's causing. And then with China's weaponization of critical minerals around the world, that those together are making it a very dark workplace, a very dark world, and tough to do business. But they look across the ocean and they see this beacon of light, this beacon of hope, and that's Ontario. They know this jurisdiction inside out, that when they need a beachhead to launch business for North America or for around the world, because we do have 51 free trade agreements around the world, they say, that's where we want to go. We want to go to Ontario. They follow the rule of law. They're stable. They're reliable. They're dependable. They're trustworthy. But most of all, compared to the States, we're predictable. You know, like you, I presume you wake up every morning, I know I do, and you kind of have one eye half cocked open and you look at Truth Social or Twitter on your iPhone and you think, what new hell have we got today? Yesterday it was fertilizer, or the day before it was fertilizer. Where did that come from? And based completely not on fact at all. And that's why these companies are coming to Ontario, but to put a capstone on it so that we can appreciate that that's not a desire or a hope that they come to Ontario. So in 2024, 409 international companies located in Ontario in 2024. They brought with them $40 billion worth of investment and hired 24,711 people. So this isn't just a feeling or we hope it's happening. That's what's happening here in Ontario. You know, since we were elected, there's been more than 1 million new jobs created here in the province. That's just unheard of. In the last few months, just few months, 3 months, 70,000 new jobs were created here in the province of Ontario. Last year, again, this is a fact that you'll have a hard time comprehending. Ontario created more manufacturing jobs last year than all 50 US states combined. That's the power of what's happening here in the province of Ontario. Now, I know you can look out from our office, or we have another office on Yonge Street. It's more of a showy office where we try to close our deals, and no matter in what corner of we have the top floor of this one building, you can look out the windows and see this beautiful sight, and I tell them, yeah, it's beautiful, but you should come up to North Bay and look out our window there, and you'll really see a beautiful sight. I guess I could say the same thing for Sudbury, but you know, I won't. Well, come on, our hockey rivalries, think about it. Sudbury Wolves, back in the day, North Bay Trappers, come on, that's how we grew up. We grew up having that kind of fun together. But I know on my screensaver on my phone is my backyard, because I just love that photo of our backyard. But in Toronto, we're looking out the window and we see cranes. And I don't mean the bird. I'm talking about construction cranes. Now, in the GTA, there are more than 200 cranes up today, which is stunning. And I'll tell you how stunning that number is. I'm just trying to give you a feel for what's happening. There's never been another city in North America with more than 60 cranes up at one time. We have 200, 210 or 212. The number changes. That is more cranes operating in the GTA today than in every major North American center combined. That's the power. That's what's happening here. And it's fascinating to see, whether it's the cranes for condos that are being built, or cranes for offices that are being built. Mostly it's cranes for manufacturing plants that are being built. If you drove down the QEW a short while ago, you would have seen a whack of cranes at the Ford plant, getting ready to make that multi-billion-dollar expansion. They're gone now, the cranes, because their buildings are closed in and they're working away. And it's just a fascinating sight to see the productivity that's happening. I know when I drive up north and you drive through the communities along the way, cranes, cranes, cranes. It's an exciting indicator of what's happening. This summer, we had a great occasion to come to Sudbury and spend a lot of time with your mining community as well. We talked to 4 or 5 of your mines, spent a lot of time here getting a better understanding. In fact, we got together yesterday and revisited all of the learnings that we had, and confirmed a lot of the things that we need to do in the sector. And I told them I was up in Kirkland Lake and visited the new Agnico Eagle gold mine as well, about 2 years away from being open, but the head frame was up, and there's just nothing, no matter what city it's in, there's just nothing more exciting than seeing a new head frame going up somewhere. I love that. On a personal note, you know, I've had a prospector's license since 1978, and I love to go gold panning. Just a little, I won't tell you where, because when I was getting my license, it was up in New Liskeard, and they brought us to a diggings from a mine that closed in the 20s, a little gold mine that closed. It's north of Temagami. That's all I'm going to tell you where. I won't put the X on the map for you. But as I sit there by the creek and put my sluice in and do my shoveling, there's nothing more peaceful than seeing that happen. And then you think about it on the large scale, and the thousands and the tens of thousands of people, Ontario families, who are working. Now, we had our Christmas party the other night, and good morning, Minister Lecce.
Good morning.
You'll be on in a second. I'm going to finish my story, and you'll be on in a second. We had our Christmas party the other night, and I sat around the table with the 20 or so staff, and we said to them, you know, this is a real time to celebrate your accomplishments of the year. And I think about the announcements that we made just last week, as His Worship Paul Lefebvre was saying. We ended here in Sudbury. But to finish my discussion and to put a capstone on it, last week we did 5 cities in 5 days in Ontario. We started in Ottawa for a $238 million announcement from an American tech company. We moved down the highway to Morrisburg, where a Japanese company that we've been luring for 2 years is now making soy milk powder for export. Came across the highway into Hamilton. With Minister Lecce, we announced at AtomV, a company that is taking the isotopes that are created in Ontario and doing their magic to them and making radiopharmaceuticals for cancer care. From there, we went into Mississauga on the 4th day and announced a massive bottling plant where they're making now orange juice, grape juice, apple juice. It's hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of jobs. And then we ended up here in Sudbury to announce Sandvik, that we had visited often in Sweden, and we're able to land that for Sudbury, that MRO. So it was 5 cities, 5 days, $1 billion in new investment here in Ontario, creating 770 jobs. So that's the climate, as we've explained for the last few minutes. That's the climate that's built here in Ontario, that Premier Ford has led the way by lowering taxes, lowering the cost of doing business. So without any further hesitation, I'm going to introduce a great friend and a great minister, Minister Stephen Lecce. Please take over.
Okay, good morning. Like planes, trains, and automobiles to be here in Sudbury this morning. It's good to be back 3 times in the last 6 months. But we've got a wonderful team with us, and I want to acknowledge Bill, who's been a strong voice for the North. It's an honor to serve. Congratulations on an election just a few months ago, but since then he has, working with all of us, really stood together to advance the cause of Canada's mineral advantage. I want to thank the Mayor for his partnership. Thank you, Paul, for the work you're doing at home and abroad, helping to secure ethical supply chains. Ashley, thank you for inspiring the next generation of STEM workers and thinkers. I mean, what happens here at Science North is an incredible case study of discovery and excitement in the next generation of the workers we need in our mines, in our energy sector, nuclear and beyond. And thank you, Minister Fedeli, for the introduction and for dragging the puck, sir. I definitely appreciate that. So we are here. We're back in Sudbury, in the Sudbury Basin, really to make an important announcement about standing up for Canada and what it means to be Canadian, the most ethical supply chain on earth, a nation of democracy and freedom and human rights, the rule of law, the cleanest grid. There is no nation on earth that should triumph in this moment in a world where China dominates the space. We have it all, and we have the values and the workforce and the ingenuity and the leadership that I think really should make us all proud of what we are all doing in the critical mineral space. And, you know, we were here in Sudbury, standing with a similar team to announce one project, one process. The vision the Premier had to cut the permit timelines by 50%. And, you know, politicians talk a big talk. We got it done in 4 months, and then we implemented. We used that authority for a really important lithium project in the north of Ontario. And now here we are today, after slashing the permit timelines by half, going from the second slowest in the OECD to among the fastest in the G7, another step forward so that we can repatriate these jobs and create more value-added investment right here at home in the country. And the Critical Mineral Processing Fund is, at its core, it's the official announcement by our Premier that we are ending the ripping and shipping of Canada's resources and processing them, creating jobs right here at home. And that's a good thing for Canada. It's a good thing for ethical supply chains. It's a good thing for the tens of thousands of workers that will benefit. Because as we stand today, there are 14 advanced mines, potential projects ready to go in the next few years. It is for them, it is for us all that we move this project forward. So it's a very great honor to stand with Minister Fedeli to really advance the cause of our critical mineral supply chain, to make sure that we own these investments, that value, the jobs, the value-added jobs stays here at home. How many times do Canadians reflect on our resources going south to the US or to Europe, and then we buy them back at a premium? That ends today. And that's why I'm proud to be here. I would have ran here if required from Toronto, because I was committed to the cause of standing with my colleagues, with Bill and Vic, and with you all, just to thank you for being a great partner. Sudbury is, we talk about rings of fire. We have one right here below our feet. And there are other ones, of course, in Ontario, in Timmins, of course, in Thunder Bay, and of course, in the Ring of Fire. But here in the Sudbury Basin, you guys are a great example of extraction, of processing, and with connections to downstream conversion. So you do it all. We're proud and honored to serve with you today. And thank you so much for being with us and allowing me to join right at the end of this important announcement. Thanks so much.
We will now open the floor to questions from the media. Please come to the microphone and state your name and your outlet. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up.
Hello, Tyler Clark from Sudbury.com. With the application process open now, what projects do you want to see apply for funding moving forward? What are the qualifications? What projects are you hoping to see grasp onto this thing?
Thank you, Tyler. There's a great opportunity here for any Ontario mining company who are pulling minerals out of the ground to be able to have them processed here. For instance, if you think about Frontier Lithium as an example, at the PDAC show last year, we announced an up to $162 million investment from the province of Ontario to convert that lithium rock into lithium hydroxide. That's a great example of a critical mineral processing project. So we have opportunities in any of the critical minerals throughout Ontario, whether it's here in Sudbury, and hopefully here in Sudbury, there's plenty of opportunity, but throughout the north, there'll be a great opportunity for these companies to make sure, and as Minister Lecce said, to be able to process them right here in the province of Ontario and not ship them elsewhere. This is where we want the value added to happen, here in Ontario. Thank you.
I'm thinking those 409 international companies that invested in Ontario last year. Private enterprise, they tend to focus on the bottom line. Obviously, the private enterprise. They look for the greatest incentives, the lowest environmental regulations, the lowest taxes. That drives their decision of where to invest. How does the province guard against a potential race to the bottom? How does the province ensure that they get the most out of these projects that the public can get?
Well, thank you, Tyler. Out of those 409 companies, there's likely 9 that we helped with an investment. The other 400 are here completely on their own. The opportunities that we've had with them is we call a concierge service. We help guide them to the proper location, the best location. If they're from around the world, they may not be familiar with Canada, they may not be familiar with Ontario, our geography, our location, but all of them really come for a couple of reasons. It's not, I mean, we have very firm environmental regulations, we have very firm labor laws, so they know what they're getting into from that aspect. But they come here for the talent. We graduate 86,000 STEM grads every single year. We just added 20,500 more spaces in last year's budget. So the next cohort that graduates will be graduating over 100,000 STEM grads. So they come here for the talent, whether it's in the IT sector. We have 1,800 AI masters enrolled right this moment. We graduated 1,400 last year, so that's growing. We have 1,100 plus AI firms in Ontario. So if they're coming on that side, they understand the ecosystem. If they're coming on the advanced manufacturing side, they look at a company like Toyota in Cambridge, who not so long ago was named the #1 automaker in the world. That's not the #1 Toyota plant. This is the #1 auto plant in the entire world out of the thousands of plants. So they look for that fact that Ontario knows how to make things. So they come here for our clean energy. They come here for the vast land that we have, the service land that we have. So they come for all the right reasons, Tyler.
Harold Carmichael, Sudbury Star Post Media. When a company applies to the fund, it gets reviewed and decision is made or accept or reject. How long would this process take?
The due diligence process is up to Invest Ontario, and it depends on the breadth and depth of the company and all of the processing of all of their information. So if everything comes in early and on time and complete, it can be done in months, as few as 4 months. So they just need to make sure and make certain that they start early. Let's get started early with these companies. We want to encourage them to come. We want to encourage them to know the project that they want to do and be able to fully explain the project. But it's a serious financial due diligence that's done. We have a matrix that both our Treasury Board and our Cabinet have approved. It's a formula that they need to plug into, much like when we apply. I recall when we were bidding on the Volkswagen opportunity. It was a matrix that we had to have every box checked, every green box. If there wasn't a green box checked, there was a very serious due diligence as to why not, and we worked hard to get that changed. That will be the same process that we put these prospects through.
Is there a cap on an application, say 30 million, 40 million, 20 million?
Each will be assessed on their own merit and their own value. It's a $500 million fund over the course of 3 years. So we're looking for exciting projects, exciting opportunities to be able to have all of these minerals processed right here in the province of Ontario.
Great. That concludes today's presentation. Thank you all for coming and for joining us today at the Science Centre. We will now transition to a photo op.